of teachers in the schools.
Yes.
It's like 80% of women. The boys are there dropping them to school. The men
Yes.
are there dropping them to school in the cars. But the women are the ones educated, and 30% men.
Enrollment has dropped. Yes.
Right.
Yes. Mr. Butler, please.
Yes, ma'am. My response would be in terms of a thought. What if we had schools where all of the teachers were males, particularly primary schools as well, and you're sending your girl child there? What would the thought be? Well, that's what a lot of our boys have to deal with on a daily basis, which is also the same scenario at home. I think, too, that our girls need to understand that and experience the fact that a man can touch you to help. He can compliment you to motivate.
Yes.
And he doesn't have to hit you when he's angry.
Yes.
For these reasons and many other reasons, I think we need to put some more research into finding out why it is that the males with the innate qualities to be teachers are not in the system.
Yes.
Put our resources, advertisement behind encouraging those choice persons to come into the system and increase the male output in the education system in general.
So perhaps a strategic plan in place to attract more males and say that this profession is worthwhile for the male factor and worthwhile for our students, of course.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, for their holistic development. Well, gentlemen, it's been a pleasure speaking with the three of you. I have learned a lot, and I'm certain the Bahamian public has as well. Okay? So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for watching us today on Air Table Talk Unplugged. It's been a wonderful experience, and we want you to listen in and join us again. Well, you've been watching us, and if you'd like to receive updates on what's happening at the Ministry of Education, then please visit our YouTube channel, website, or other social media platforms. Well, that's all for now. I am Denise Pratt, and thank you again for tuning in. Good day.
You're watching the ZNS Network, the People's Station.
Coming up in the news, the nation's leader candid about the revitalization of the Northern Bahamas. Tourism officials revealing their aggressive plan to promote the Bahamas as a tourist destination. And recent health statistics showing an uptick in the diagnosis of the dreaded disease, cancer. We find out more on the latest release. The Bahamas Tonight, the Northern Edition, starts now.
This is the Bahamas Tonight, Northern Edition.
Good evening and welcome to the Bahamas Tonight, the Northern Edition. I'm Ramiko Knowles. Thank you so much for tuning in. Topping news tonight, the nation's leader, the Honorable Philip Davis, sharing his thoughts on the revitalization of islands in the Northern Bahamas. While speaking exclusively with our ZNS Northern Service team, Prime Minister Davis revealing his satisfaction and disappointments as it relates to the progress on Bimini and Grand Bahama thus far. Simone Davis reports.
I'm pleased with what is happening in Bimini at the moment. There's still a lot of work we have to do in Bimini to ensure that the aesthetics and the amenities that's being offered is such that Biminites benefit more.
That was the Prime Minister's response when asked his thoughts on the current state of Bimini's economy. Prime Minister Davis says while the island's tourism is bouncing back, the focus is now on ensuring that business flows into the settlements.
I'm very pleased with the tourist rebound that's happening, particularly on the weekends. And we need, as I said, to do some more things within the settlements to ensure that more of what is happening filters in and passes into the settlement so that the ordinary Biminite could benefit much more.
The nation's leader, while sharing his expectations for Bimini's economy in the future, also expressed his disappointment in the pace of progress on Grand Bahama.
Well, I expect them to take their rightful place in having the economic impact that they should be having. Grand Bahama is truly a work in progress. I'm satisfied that Bimini is on the way and they're moving in the right direction. Grand Bahama is still lagging, and that is my disappointment to date, that we've not been able to move Grand Bahama further ahead than it did.
Since taking office last year, the Davis-Cooper administration has delegated the Ministry for Grand Bahama to implement several initiatives to stabilize the island's economy. Minister for Grand Bahama, the Honorable Sharita Moxie, has expressed that her ministry is hard at work to do just that. So while progress is slow, it is steady. For the Bahamas Tonight, the Northern Edition, I'm Simone Davis.
While the Bahamas tourism numbers are continuing to climb post the COVID-19 pandemic, and the government is doing its part to promote the Bahamas to key global markets. Tonight, the Acting Director General, Natalia Duncombe, sits with our Aja Quant and dives deeper into what the ministry is doing to revitalize and promote the islands as a tourism destination.
The options that we have for the visitors to enjoy, it's truly second to none.
The Ministry of Tourism describes the Bahamas' best-kept secret as the country's sheer size and diversity. With 16 major islands, the ministry say the Bahamas is an unmatched destination with a heart-pounding adventure across 100,000 square miles of the world's clearest ocean. One of the key components, according to Acting Director General at the ministry, Latia Duncombe, is connecting visitors with locals to provide an authentic Bahamian experience.
When we look at the Bahamas, when we look at the diversity, when we look at the 16-island destination, we have a menu of options for many of our travelers. And they come to the Bahamas, whether it's an off-the-beaten-path experience, whether it's swimming with the pigs, swimming with the sharks. There's just so much to do, so much to explore within the islands of the Bahamas.
And one island in particular, Grand Bahama, which was the main focus of the Charlotte, Raleigh, North Carolina Global Sales Mission trip. ADG Duncombe expressing that Grand Bahama has a lot to offer to tourists traveling to the island.
When we look at Grand Bahama, it has the city center, and then there's the east and the west, where you have a taste of the family island as well. So from an ecotourism perspective, the kayaking, the safari, when you look at being in touch with nature, when we look at coral reef experiences, snorkeling, there's just so much to do on the island of Grand Bahama.
The Bahamas Ministry of Tourism, Investments and Aviation is using their global sales mission to take the Bahamas to the world under the theme, Bringing the Bahamas to You, to update some of the Bahamas' key global markets on new projects and investments. ADG Duncombe says the partnerships they have throughout the world are important. She says there are a number of linkages and connections in Raleigh, particularly with former Deputy Prime Minister Mother Cynthia Pratt, Rick Fox, and Kai Jones.
When I think about partnerships, I think about opportunities, I think about collaboration, and I also think about mutually beneficial exchanges. And when we look at North Carolina, when we look at Charlotte, when we look at Raleigh, we think about the deep and rich history that it's always had with not only the island of Grand Bahama, but the Bahamas at large.
Now the Global Sales Mission continues on October 31st in Calgary, Alberta, Canada, where tourism officials will continue providing informative and culturally entertaining experiences for those attending the events. For the Bahamas Tonight, the Northern Edition, I'm Aja Quant.
While a local family attorney weighing in on the recent study done by the University of the Bahamas on the prevalence of marital rape and sexual abuse in the Bahamian context, Constant McDonald, KC, arguing that a covenant marriage contains stipulations for spouses to follow, and adds that the answer to the problem that is marital rape is not stiffer penalties. Our Raven Davis has the details in this report.
Family law attorney Constance McDonald Casey calling into question the results of a newly published survey by the University of the Bahamas suggesting that 1 in 12, or around 4,000 married women, have been raped by their spouses.
In checking with a lot of different places, we're trying to figure out Where did the information come from exactly?
That is the reaction of McDonald, who adds that she, along with fellow colleagues, were shocked upon learning of the figures, though she contends that the implication is not that women aren't being raped.
Well, first of all, we didn't have marital rape in the Bahamas in the first place, and that's one of the reasons why they're saying that the law needs to be amended. But we did have sexual assault under the Act. And in order to bring a charge of sexual assault, that has to be reported to the Attorney General. We weren't able to find any charges under the Sexual Offences Act for sexual assault.
Now, the Bahamas government recently drafting a bill intended to criminalize marital rape, but the move is not without dissenting views, some arguing that the sanctity of marriage should be preserved, others, however, going as far as to lobby for stiffer penalties, which the attorney asserts is not the answer.
The problem that I'm having is because in law, presently, right, you can get a divorce based on adultery. Now, if we're saying that a spouse doesn't have an obligation to have sex with the other one, then can you still use adultery as a grounds for divorce? The other thing is, if your spouse refused to have sex with you for 2 years, that's desertion. That's another ground for divorce. So, are we going to still be able to use desertion as a grounds for divorce?
Charging that a deeper and more sinister agenda is at play, she says that to stem the problem, a heightened focus needs to be placed on either strengthening marriages or strengthening women.
There are two types of marriages. One is a covenant marriage, which is a marriage according to the standard set by God, with God at the center of that marriage. And a lot of people get married in the church, but they really only married under the law. Marriage is one of the holy sacraments which was ordained by God, and God set standards for that marriage. Anything that God set standards for, the devil is going to try and counterfeit and destroy.
For the Bahamas Tonight, the Northern Edition, I'm Raven Davis.
Well, cancer statistics on the island of Grand Bahama showing an increase in diagnosis for breast cancer, prostate cancer, and colon cancer. Our Jolanda Thompson sits with the Deputy Medical Chief of Staff on this latest release.
For the past 3 years, the island of Grand Bahama has seen an increase when it comes to residents being diagnosed with the dreaded disease cancer. However, Deputy Medical Chief of Staff Monique Pratt explains the historic statistics on the island and how persons can combat the rise and live a healthy, long life. Pratt, who is also a consultant in nephrology and internal medicine, says that the United States have seen an increase of 1.9 million in cancer patients, and with breast cancer leading the way, prostate cancer second in line, followed by colon cancer. She is noting that Grand Bahama is also experiencing the same.
Breast cancer, there were 30 cases documented here at Grand Bahama Health Services. Colon cancer, about 12 cases. Prostate cancer, about 10. And pancreas, about 8, which I think is pretty high for this population. Cervical cancer, about 7. So total that year of 2021, there were about 96 cases of cancer that were documented. But this was documented here. So again, breast cancer is number 1. Back in also colon cancer is the second runner, which is 6 cases, and prostate about 4. That's just still far for this year, but I'm sure it's going to get higher because we're back in the swing of things. We have doctors visiting who are specialists. We do more screening in the clinics. So I'm sure those numbers would definitely increase more even towards the end of the year, because we see a lot of cases with cancers coming through, especially prostate.
Despite the rates at a high peak, she furthers that the hospital has improved their efforts by bringing in additional physicians on the island. She is sending this message to all to get tested despite age, ethnicity, and culture.
As far as being hereditary, if you do have a first-degree relative, mother, sister, grandmother, aunt, you definitely need to be screened earlier, probably even in your 30s, to make sure you don't have any breast cancer, because the BRCA gene, I don't know if you heard about it, the BRCA gene, that's definitely hereditary. So you have increased risk for getting breast cancer if you have that BRCA gene, or you have a first-degree relative that has those genes or have breast cancer. So that's the first thing you start. Get your history and your physical, do monthly self-breast exams, let your doctor know if you find a lump. Our mammogram here is up and running. It's one of the best on the island. We have a top mammogram machine. is still functional. So you can get a screening mammogram here if you feel a lump, and then we can go from there. And that's where we can take it from. Start from self-breast exams, physical exam, then you go to testing.
Pratt says that Grand Bahama Health Services is here to help, as she shares how they are rendering their services to persons to come and get tested and screened.
We're here to assist you with getting your screenings done, whether it's for prostate, that Robin Roberts comes around in Nassau twice a month, holds a clinic here, free clinic here, for prostates, and also for other type of urological cancers. We also have Dr. Riley Butler, who comes out of Nassau as well, holds 2 clinics here at Grand Bahama Health Services, and he's a specialist in gynecology, oncology cancers, so breast, uterine, cervix, so he's here to assist us there. And then we also have our general surgeon, Dr. Humes, Dr. Corral. They're all here to assist us. Dr. Farquharson also comes out of Nassau, and he helps with limb. He has a twice a month clinic as well. Dr. Sands also comes too. So you have a chest lesion or lesion in your lung. He's a thoracic cardiovascular surgeon, so he can help alleviate that particular thing. So we're well equipped. We don't have people on the ground, but they do come, and they've been helping us for years to tackle this high cancer rate in Grand Bahama.
For the Bahamas Tonight, the Northern Edition, I'm Julanda Thompson.
And when we come back, an Institute of Higher Learning set to be outfitted with new state-of-the-art technologies. Hear how, along with the latest in sports, when the Bahamas Tonight, the Northern Edition, returns.
Come on down.
Body by Johnny presents the 2022 Breast Cancer Awareness Run and Walk from the Grand Bahama Sports Complex. October 29th for all ages, starting at 6 a.m.
Digital bidding for government contracts is now better than ever. All business owners are encouraged to register on the new and improved e-procurement and supplies registry system to access all government contracts. Never miss another opportunity to grow your business. Registration takes just 5 minutes and gives you instant access to notifications of business opportunities and the ability to submit bids to the Bahamas government. Want to learn more? Visit moffenders.gov.bs and register today.
Cadet Bahamas says now is the perfect time to do all those updates and repairs, changing your flooring or updating those windows. Now in stock at Cadet Bahamas are stylish ceramic plank tiles, shower floor tiles, an array of sizes in porcelain tiles, laminate and vinyl flooring, impact and PVC windows. Cadet Bahamas is stocked out with everything you need to enhance your beautiful home, so you enjoy life the way you should. Open Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. and Saturdays, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m.
With over 30 years of service with integrity, services in Abaco, New Providence, and Grand Bahama, providing modern and state-of-the-art equipment, specializing in the maintenance and operation of waste treatment plants, waste oil movement, sludge extraction, tank cleaning, elite portable toilets, and hand wash stations. We are efficient, reliable, and cutting edge. We are B&B Galaxy.
I am Cynthia Smith. I am a teacher at the Great Walter Parker Primary. We believe that it's important that the awareness of cancer, particularly breast cancer, is spread to everyone. 2018, I was diagnosed 4-stage metastatic breast cancer. My cancer is to my bones, and so there are times when it is challenging. While you have cancer, it is not a death sentence, okay? You can survive. Take care of yourself. Our display will show the beauty in it. While we struggle, while we are in pain, we still can have a good life.
That's what I told her. Bring the winding thing here. This is Reconstruct, so show me emotion. Hey, wine and go down low. The
King of the North is back. Power 104.5 FM.
Your #1 news team covering the North. The Bahamas Tonight, Northern Edition.
Welcome back. Also in news this evening, BTVI's Northern Campus is now the subject of some much-needed infrastructural and academic upgrades. Some 3 years after Hurricane Dorian dramatically impaired the campus, officials are announcing that it will be outfitted with a new state-of-the-art technologies expected to afford students an improved learning environment. Board members, including Ministry of State and the Ministry of Education and Technical and Vocational Training, the Honorable Zane Lightbourne, and Interim President Dr. Linda Davis, recently making their rounds about the facility to assess the progress. Davis stating that she is pleased that the advances so far have been incremental but steady.
We are really pushing to try to make things right and to improve on the existing facility. And toward that end, some steps have been taken. We are about to be able to access some CDB funding to even expand that. And I think by the end of the first quarter of next year, you'll see a much improved BTVI campus here at the Northern Bahamas.
And with Grand Bahama commonly dubbed the industrial capital, Dr. Davis says technical and vocational thrives on the partnership with industry. And in the greater scheme of things, the institution is seeking to bring employment to the Northern Bahamas through expansion of its programs.
We have our designs on working even more closely with industry to identify programs that meet their needs. We exist because of industry, and so we are looking at expanding our regular trade programs, whether it's in the construction or mechanical trades, and that's electrical, HVAC, mechanical more broadly, and looking at bringing on new programs like solar or renewable energies.
Now, she also reveals that board members have been invited by the Minister for Grand Bahama, the Honorable Ginger Moxie, to look at the Lewis Yard facility and to partner with other agencies as a means of further expanding the physical facility. In other news, 13 of Grand Bahama's brightest and most eloquent youth are showcasing their talent during the 11th Annual Youth Month speech competition. Eager to have their voices heard, contestants taking to the podium to deliver original content on the topic Youth Building a Bold Future. Youth Officer in the Ministry of Youth, Sports and Culture, Dr. Kenneth Miller, was in attendance. He says it is a pleasure to facilitate forums that allow youth to make meaningful contributions and also gain valuable takeaways.
And the dynamic fact is, from it started in 2010 to now, we have seen a plethora of young people arise and meet the standard as talebearers of excellence, trailblazers of purpose. Our intention that at the end of this program, not only will their voice have been heard, but they would have gained confidence. They would have learned how to effectively express themselves, and at the end of this experience, be able to speak as young people to a nation that is in need of vital strength.
Now, a panel of judges watching attentively and tallying up the scores as the competition intensified. Former youth parliamentarian Dion McKinney voicing support for the event and says it is an indication that many of our youth are doing positive despite negative perceptions of them.
I believe that events such as this give young people a platform to use and express their voice. Having been a former youth parliamentarian, I understand the demands, I understand what is needed and what is required of young people, and so I fully endorse this platform.
Well, October is recognized as Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and Be My Guest is putting a twist to it. The Gold Ribbon Affair is set to kick off a day of fun for all at Gombe Land with food, games, and live entertainment. Breast cancer survivor Ruth Mae Smith thanking the organization for putting such an event together. Event coordinator Sasha Pinder inviting all to join in on the fun as they honor the survivors and remember those who were taken to breast cancer. The Golden Ribbon Affair will begin at 12 noon tomorrow until 10 p.m. Part proceeds will be donated to the Breast Cancer Society. For more information, you can contact 439-0239 or 814-3509. In other news, the Pro-Cathedral of Christ the King Anglican Church in Freeport, Grand Bahama, marking a milestone. Freeport's first church has been a part of the Grand Bahama landscape for some 60 years. A news conference was held to close out a year of celebrations. The rector Canon Norman Lightbourne says this entire week will be celebrated in grand style.
Good and gracious God has brought his Church of Christ the King a very long way since services were held in 1961 in various buildings in the Freeport area, attended by a handful of faithful Anglicans longing for a permanent house of worship. The only person remaining from that small group of pre-construction days is Mistress Brenda Chung, wife of the late Edmund Chung, the first priest warden of our parish.
Now the church continues to serve as a beacon of hope for its members as well as the wider community through various programs and activities.
We give Almighty God thanks for the innumerable blessings He has bestowed on our parish and for the people He has placed in this great church over the last 60 years to be ministered to spiritually by His word and sacraments, and physically through the church's many and varied long-standing social outreach programs. The prophetic motto selected for this church in 1962 remains the guiding light for everything we do, even today, 60 years later. Thus, we chose as our theme for this momentous occasion 60 years of proclaiming Christ as King and sharing Him with others.
Well, tonight a masquerade ball will take place at the City of Life on East Sunrise Highway beginning at 7 p.m. The event will be held under the patronage of Pioneer member Mistress Brenda Cheung. Then on Saturday, a cultural extravaganza will take place on downtown Pioneers Way featuring the Royal Bahamas Defense Force Band, local marching bands, Pastor Simeon Oughton, the Fabulous Cooling Waters, Wilfred Solomon, and a Junkanoo Rush Out. On Sunday morning at 9, the Feast of Dedication, Gift Day, and Administration of Holy Confirmation will take place. Bishop of the Bahamas and the Turks and Caicos Islands, Bishop Leish Boyd, will officiate. The week of events will culminate with a pontifical celebration or celebrated solemn Eucharist at the naming of the Keith and Cartwright Social Outreach and Education Center at 4 p.m., preceded by a grand outdoor procession of witnesses at 3 p.m. It's now time for your Friday evening check on sports with Shane Stubbs.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Shane Stubbs, and welcome to Sports. The Focal Junior Tennis Tournament officially getting underway, but first, the Sunland Stingers receiving some much-deserved bling. The Sunland Stingers receiving their championship rings ahead of their title defense in the IL Cares Tip-Off Basketball Classic. Coach Marco Cooper sharing how vital this is.
We are excited about it. This is perfect. It's going to carry over into the season. They're excited. We would have lost one of our key players in Latrez McIntosh, but, you know, everybody else is returning. So we're expected to do great things. We got about 6 seniors, so this year is dedicated to them.
The presentation took place during Sunland Baptist Academy's Celebration of Excellence ceremony, which highlighted the students for their academic and athletic success last year. Shifting over to tennis, the Focal Junior Tennis Tournament gets underway at the YMCA, and the GBTA is excited about this weekend's play.
We have 1 player from Eleuthera. We have 6 players from Abaco, and of course we have players from Grand Bahama. So we're really excited.
FOCA remains committed to the development of young people. They're pleased to see the results of this tournament. Many kids have gone on to university on tennis scholarships.
But I'm pulling for all of the kids, and hopefully they have a wonderful tournament.
The tournament wraps up this Sunday. And finally in sports, results from day 2 of the IL Cares Tip-Off Basketball Classic. The Amal Rock Blue Jays taking care of business against Study Hall Academy, 47-41. The Tabernacle Falcons got rolling and never looked back, defeating the St. George's Jaguars, 44-33. And the Jackhaven Wildcats rolled past the BMES Warriors, 45-18. The action continues this Saturday at 12 p.m. at the St. George's Gymnasium. And ladies and gentlemen, that is your quick update on sports. I'm Shane Stubbs. Continue to have a blessed Friday.
Don't miss the 25% off sale at Park & Shop. 25% off sale this October 27th, 28th, and 29th, excluding underwear and red tag items. The race returns. The GBPA Conkman Triathlon, November 5th at Tano Beach. Register now at conkmantriathlon.com.
It's the coconut got this. Cocoa gingerbread madness. Juiciness, ice the back. This sweet like a sugar in a dripping like ice honey. Addict, all of my love me. Sweet like a sugar in a watch it go ba 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 ba. 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 Sweet like a sugar in a
new Cadet Platinum flavor. Flavored beers with a kick of rum. Make it platinum.
Ice a coconut got this. Cocoa gingerbread madness. Juiciness, ice the back. This sweet like a sugar in a dripping like ice honey.
The King of the North is back. Power 104.5 FM.
Your #1 news team covering the North. The Bahamas Tonight, Northern Edition.
Ronwin Smith, you are our Facebook friend of the day. We are wishing you a happy birthday. We hope you enjoyed. And also a special happy birthday goes out to Consul Sheila Cartwright from the entire team here in the North. Enjoy your day. And that concludes the Bahamas Tonight, the Northern Edition. On behalf of the entire news team, I'm Ramiko Knowles. Have a great weekend.
Coming up in the Bahamas Tonight, the National Report, a deadly industrial accident. Grocers hopeful of an agreement with government. The Bahamas armors up for COP27. And in sports, Hornets exercise team option on Kai. The Bahamas Tonight, the National Report, starts now.
ZNS News is linked up by BTC. Whether it's chatting, gaming, content creating, or working smart to get things done, link up to stay connected with BTC.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Akush Lopinder, and this is the Bahamas Tonight, the National Report. Thanks for tuning in. We're coming to an abrupt stop at a site just off Collins Avenue following a freak accident just before 11 this morning. Streams of crime scene tape, a hearse, police cars, a team of detectives, and curious onlookers clamored Rusty Bethel Drive following news that a crane operator had been killed. Here's what Second Officer in Charge of CDU Superintendent Tarico Sweeting shared exclusively with our news team on the scene.
At 10:20 a.m. this morning, the police were alerted via 919 call that there was an incident that took place on Fort Terrace involving a crane type vehicle.
And we understand that someone died as a result. Can you confirm?
Yes, ma'am. A short time later, EMS arrived on scene. They examined the body and found it to be lifeless. We can say that the deceased was an employee working here at this location, was the operator of a crane, And at some point in time during the course of his work, that apparatus malfunctioned and it resulted in his death.
The victim's believed to be in his late 70s. The matter's been turned over to His Majesty's coroner. In other news this evening, days before the expanded price control list is enforced, the Retail Grocers Association's making a last-minute pitch, proposing a new agreement they hope will end well for their members. Our Altavis Munnings earlier today got more clarity on the grocers' new proposal.
Call it a powerful meeting of the minds. Members of the Retail Grocers Association held a meeting on Friday to discuss the new proposed price control amendment regulations that are expected to be enforced starting November 1st. The meeting was held with wholesalers here in New Providence as well as members of the Bahamas Pharmaceutical Association. Now, this meeting comes just days after the retail grocers submitted a letter to Prime Minister and Minister of Finance, the Honorable Philip Davis, on their recommendations on how the price control amendments should be regulated. We spoke with President of the Bahamas Retail Grocers Association, Philip Benaby, on the issue.
We are Bahamians, we hire Bahamians, and we want to keep our Bahamians employed, and we want to keep our business open. But this new proposal will definitely cause a lot of our businesses to shut their doors, especially the medium and the small businesses. They will be affected.
Here's what's on the table from the grocers. Developing a 4 to 6 month public-private partnership with the Ministry of Social Services to add 10% on all food stamps or vouchers to ensure relief to those who need it the most. 20 items instead of the initially proposed 38 on the list. They also agree on the 25% markup on dry grocery price control items, but request from the government a 30% markup for Family Island retailers. Due to the rise in power and shrinkage, the grocers request a 35% markup in Nassau and 40% on the Family Islands and perishables. And they're also asking the government to take value-added tax off breadbasket items during the food assistance period.
As far as we're concerned, we're still negotiating. And we did what they asked. They asked to present our proposal. And that's what we did. So as far as we're concerned, we're still negotiating. We're waiting to hear back from them.
So what would happen on October 31st if you don't hear from the government?
Well, we just continue to wait.
Now, as of Friday, grocers hadn't obtained a response from government on their latest proposal. We weren't able to reach the Economic Affairs Minister, Senator the Honorable Michael Halkitis, for confirmation. However, he's recently indicated that government's main concern on this issue is to bring buying relief to consumers. For the Bahamas Tonight, I'm Altavis Munnings.
In related news, inflation's chokehold on wallets not letting up. The Consumer Price Index for the month of August showing an increase in inflation of 0.1%, following a 1.5% rise this past June and July. The increase attributed to the overall price of items purchased by the average consumer during this period. And while food and non-alcoholic beverages, clothing and footwear all rose by 1.3% and 0.2% respectively, the categories were unchanged compared to the previous month. The Organization for Responsible Governance has compiled some notes and recommendations for consideration to strengthen the public procurement bill. The proposed legislation seeks to establish a modern public procurement regime with oversight of the government's acquisition of goods and services. The ORG supports the passage and full enactment of the legislation. However, it's offering 25 recommendations. For instance, it notes that the timeline for publishing awarded contracts in the 2022 bill remains at 60 days. The ORG believes changes in terminology in the bill may allow some awarded contracts to remain unpublished. Further, the ORG has identified 14 potential opportunities to strengthen accountability, inclusion, and accessibility in the bill, like the appointment, composition, and financing of the Procurement Board for greater independence and representation. The Prime Minister, along with 2 cabinet ministers, NGOs, civil society, the private sector, and the youth. A nearly 70-member-strong delegation headed to Egypt next week, fully armored to sit at the table of COP27 to make the country's voice louder and stronger and to speak with like-minded people on the ever-critical issue of climate change.
The news reports that our partners are shifting their stances. They're making some concessions. They're yielding to the demands we've been making for the past 8-9 months. And that it only will occur because we were there and we were harping on them and we were in their ears and in their faces. If you are not in the room, that is obvious. They will make their decisions with their own interests in mind. But when they are called and when they are questioned, we don't live on this planet in a bubble. We live on a sphere. And so doing, we all impacted by the work or the attitudes of one another.
And as Rochelle Newbold, climate change advisor in the Office of the Prime Minister, puts it, they don't intend to leave the high-level climate conference with their hands swinging.
One thing that people may not have noticed in COP26, everything was negotiated to the benefit of small island states and developing countries until the last day, when India brought in their big ministerial guns and they made that change. So we were like, you fooled me once, but you won't fool me again. And so we will have our big guns there for that second time, such that we will not be able to allow anybody to make that change without due and proper consultations.
27 opens on November 6. Canada, the next stop on the Ministry of Tourism, Investments and Aviation's global sales and marketing mission. Calgary's this Monday, October 31st, Toronto, November 1st and 2nd, and Montreal, November 3rd. These missions, intended to solidify relationships with tourism partners and boost visitor arrivals in the area, come ahead of the start of the winter travel and the start of direct flights from both Toronto and Montreal to Grand Bahama. The delegation, led by Tourism, Investments and Aviation Minister, Deputy Prime Minister, the Honourable Chester Cooper, will participate in a lineup of events that include meetings with key stakeholders and media from across the Canadian tourism industry. Global missions are also scheduled for Atlanta, Georgia, Houston and Dallas, Texas, and Los Angeles, California.
Hi, this is Chief Meteorologist Basil Dane with a tropical weather update brought to you by BTC and CBS Bahamas. In the tropics, we are monitoring a lone area of low pressure. This broad area of disorganized showers and thunderstorms is expected to become better organized over time. As a matter of fact, the Hurricane Center is giving it a 70% chance of development, and this could be our next tropical depression. The good news is it is expected to be short-lived. Elsewhere in the tropics, tropical cyclone development is not anticipated over the next 5 days. This has been a ZNS Tropical Weather Update brought to you by BTC and CBS Bahamas.
The Bahamas Tonight, the national report returns after this break.
This portion of the news was brought to you by Sun Oil Limited Shell, fueling journeys that matter.
You have enough things to worry about. Living in a world that can seem opposite of the things you are trying to accomplish.
I can need a little help with this.
We're here to let you know that you don't have to go at it alone. Choose peace of mind. Choose comfort. Choose CB. Commonwealth Bank, leader in personal banking services.
We just got the new fiber internet speed bump. Now my internet's so fast I can watch 2 4K movies, play video games, and browse on my computer at the same time.
Yeah, my internet's so fast I could download a whole season of shows before my noodles run cooking.
Mine's so fast when I go to church online, service actually over early.
Mine's so fast when I'm working from home, 5 o'clock, come before 3.
Sound like you got this BTC fiber internet speed bump like me.
But it's so fast, I had to have it.
Current fiber internet bundle customers now have as much as 3 times the speed. Totally free. Link up with BTC.
Mealtime rules. Don't serve yourself first. Do not eat with your mouth open. Don't rest your elbows on the table. Don't make noise when eating. Does not apply when enjoying KFC buckets. When we bucket together, we are as we really are.
To think of the bank as my personal ATM machine. If I wanted a new car, new furniture, a weekend trip to Miami, no problem. Just max out the credit card or top up my loan. I was a big baller until I realized that 75% of my salary was going to pay back all those loans. Fidelity's personal financial coaching was the best solution. Fidelity gave me a plan with a debt consolidation loan that has a built-in savings that pays 5% interest. I now only have one low monthly payment plus money in my pocket. Give Fidelity Bank a call at 356-7764 in Nassau or 352-6676 in Freeport. Visit any of Fidelity's locations or visit a website at fidelitygroup.com.
Local police and their colleagues in the Turks and Caicos Islands teaming up to find wanted suspect Brandon Leonardo Ramming. The 32-year-old Grand Bahama resident said to be 5 feet 7 inches tall, slim, and was last seen in TCI. He's wanted for questioning in connection with murder, drugs, and firearm. If you happen to spot Ramming, don't hesitate to call authorities as he is considered armed and dangerous. Well, if you're involved in crime, don't think operations will be stopping anytime soon. And if you have a family member involved in illicit activity, expect officers to be at your door and in your house. The message from Royal Turks and Caicos Island Police Commissioner Trevor Botting in a national crime statement. Botting thanked Royal Bahamas Police Force Commissioner Clayton Fernanda for their partnership as they remain relentless in pursuing those who carry firearms, deal drugs, commit robberies and burglaries, and cause fear and harm. In the past 10 days, both law enforcement agencies have conducted 20 drug searches, detained 8 people under immigration legalization, executed 4 firearm warrants, seized 2 firearms and ammunition, and detained 21 individuals for working illegally, among others. Commissioner Botting also touted new legislation to deter criminals by increasing sentences for those found with firearms and ammunition and aid the police force in its duties. The TCI Police Commissioner implored Turks and Caicos Islanders to keep supporting officers as they remain adamant in fighting crime on the Twin Island territory. Well, those most impacted by that ongoing $7.4 million Village Road improvement project poured into Queens College last evening to voice their concerns during a town hall meeting. Initially slated for completion last month, the roadworks deadline has since been pushed to December, much to the chagrin of wary residents and business owners whose issues range from logistics to the project's duration, low water pressure to traffic flow, to the negative impact on their businesses. Here's what resident Graham Weatherford shared.
We could have had this project finished for back to school if we would have had 3 shifts. See, we should have worked non-stop, 3 shifts a day, and this project would have been finished for back to school. But it's a great project, it's being done well. Only problem I have is when it's finished, how will we slow people down? What people don't understand is it's taking time, right? Could have been quicker for 3 shifts, but if we're gonna do it with 1 shift, we're actually moving all the electricity, all the water, we're doing all the fiber, all the cable, TV, telephone. So we're basically building a brand new road, and that's gonna take time. And I'm willing to wait for that time for the improvement. And actually, the whole island should have started this venture 40 years ago.
On hand was Works and Utilities Minister, the Honourable Alfred Sayers, who assured efforts will be made to mitigate losses, but that the completed project comes with a host of benefits.
Given the current challenges, we believe that the quality of life for all of the stakeholders in Village Road and the Village Road community will be improved. We believe that the $7.4 million invested in this project will improve safety, It will also improve the efficiency of the road, going to work, taking students to school and picking them up, attending jollification, attending and patronizing the various business establishments within this community. There will be more efficiency, it will be more safe, and also it will be more aesthetically pleasing to all of the users of this public infrastructure.
Well, the health sector is boosting its human capital with well over 150 nurses. Well, at this point, they're only students, but 176 in all, who last evening entered the revived nursing cadet program. Standing in for the Minister of Health was Dr. Sharita Moxie. Moxie telling the cohort their journey into nursing comes at a crucial time, as shortages for qualified nurses are nationwide.
Cadets, the system needs you. Now more than ever. You are the future of healthcare. It may sound cliche, but it is true. Too many of our citizens are ill and perishing from preventable diseases. Poor health choices and unhealthy daily practices continue to burden our health system. Unfortunately, with the current shortage of nurses in the country, reducing the weight of these burdens become that much more challenging. With a transformative health agenda in motion, the Ministry of Health and Wellness has a mammoth task to undertake, and we will need dedicated, competent, and compassionate health and care workers, in particular nurses, homegrown nurses, to be at the helm in helping to advance the delivery of health care in this country.
The students are set to begin the program by next Monday. Many say the relaunch represents a bright moment in their professional journey, helping to expose them to realistic experiences typical to the profession. We spoke with these students who, along with their parents, say they plan to hit the ground running.
I am ecstatic about my child, Nisha, joining the nursing cadet program. I feel as if it is a good experience for her and for all of the cadets that are involved, and I'm very proud of her for taking on the mantle.
This helps to align me with my future career path because I will be able to gain experience in the medical field.
Made me feel proud of myself that I took the initiative to join this program to help in my future goal of becoming a doctor.
As a parent, I'm excited because I think this is a great program that gives Kalia the opportunity to explore the sciences, particularly a noble profession like nursing. Being a doctor myself, I think it's always wise to start early, and the best thing to do is to expose children to the best and all of the opportunities to prepare them for whatever it is they want to do exactly.
It'll help me to gain experience in the medical field, and it'll help me to learn how to care for people better, and it'll help me to gain more experience in this field.
Well, 5 agribusinesses on the receiving end of a large sum of grant funding thanks to a new Climate Smart initiative. It's the pilot program of the Ministry of Agriculture and Small Business Development Center that focuses on providing grant funding to farmers incorporating in innovative practices and whose business, who are all intents and purposes, the future of farming. The funding is a spin-off of the newly introduced Sustainable Food Growth Grant and comes as that program has been met with overwhelming response. Among the businesses receiving grants, Abaco Big Bird and What the Fungus.
We feel strongly that the ideas we need to strengthen the sector are among us. And we hope that this funding initiative will encourage our young scientists, IT techs, creatives, and those with a love for farming to partner with us and to get growing. Some of the candidates we've identified to receive this new grant are 100% focused on integrating solar technology in their businesses. Some are utilizing hybrid methods with traditional farming techniques.
SBDC Executive Director Samantha Rolls stresses the importance of having a program geared towards encouraging agriculture practices with climate change in mind.
As climate change continues to threaten food production systems globally, the Bahamas must be quick to pivot and recognize the growing importance of technology in food innovation. The inclusion of climate-smart technology in our agriculture and food production practices is a step in the right direction to improve the resilience of our food production systems and support the conservation of our natural resources.
Well, it's time for the results of this week's poll question. And as a reminder, you were asked, do you believe protesting affects change here in the Bahamas? Yes or no? Well, of course, the results are in, and on the ZNS website, 68.75% of you said no. That leaves just over 31% of you voting yes. On our Facebook page, that's 71% no, while tweets brought in the least number of no votes at just 57.1%. As always, thanks for participating. You're watching the Bahamas Tonight, the National Report. Stay with us.
Tourism today. Bahamas Tourism today.
Quench your thirst with Key Water, a new sustainably packaged alkaline water produced by Bahamian entrepreneur Justin Bannister.
I wanted something a little bit environmentally friendly, also to fill in the health and wellness sphere. And as an athlete myself, water kind of fell into the whole realm of the health and wellness, but I had to get around the plastic, so I created a patented technology so we could sustainably package it, 98% biodegradable, 85% compostable. So it's working on getting it to 100%. So the label itself was inspired by the lighthouse in Abaco, the wreckers of Hope Town. They would take whatever was left over from ships that would wreck, and they thought it was a trade. And when they built the lighthouse, they kind of revolted against it. They didn't want this lighthouse here. And I guess it forced them to evolve, and it turned into a tourist destination. And now Abaco, it makes a lot of money for what it's known for. It's natural resources. They empowered the things that were already there rather than trying to take what was given to them. I think it's important for Bahamians to pay attention to the things that they gravitate to and find a way to monetize it. Don't really focus on the circumstances or the resources you have. Use what you can and create a plan. Really set aside the steps to accomplish this plan, and before you know it, you'll have what you're looking for.
Visit keywater.com to purchase your case of refined alkaline water today. I'm Joshua Robbins, and this is Tourism Today.
We just got the new fiber internet speed bump. Now my internet's so fast, I can watch 2 4K movies, play video games, and browse on my computer at the same time.
Yeah, my internet's so fast, I could download a whole season of shows before my noodles run cooking.
Mine's so fast, when I go to church online, service actually over early.
Mine's so fast, when I'm working from home, 5 o'clock, come before 3.
Sound like you got this BTC fiber internet speed bump like me.
And it's so fast, I had to have it.
Current fiber internet bundle customers now have as much as 3 times the speed. Totally free. Link up with BTC.
When you wanna save money on your tile supplies, who you gonna call? The Tile King. When you tile your house and you wanna look good, who you gonna call? The Tile King.
Visit the new Tile King showroom, which is internationally recognized as the finest tile showroom in the Caribbean, located in the Builders Mall on Wolf Road.
The Tile King. Who you gonna call? The Tile King.
Tiles on everything.
Join up for life insurance. Secure the ones that you love. Join up with Family Guardian. We offer full protection. Join the family. Join the family. Family Guardian. Protect the ones you love. A brand that you can trust. Family Guardian.
The Ministry of Education's launched the Primary School Language, Arts and Computer Studies curricula for grades 4 and 5. Education Minister, the Honourable Glenys Hannah Martin, says the Curriculum Development Initiative is necessary in order to keep current with the changing demands of students who have to compete on a global stage and to ensure Bahamian values and customs are preserved. The minister also applauded the educators involved in crafting the new curricula.
We as stakeholders, and particularly those who are engaged in the curriculum, you are craftsmen, you are architects, you are designers. This is the powerful norm that we embrace as post-colonial people who are designing an educational process for our people. We look around and we see the challenges that we face in this nation. And we know that we have a lot of work to do. The important thing, though, is that we understand that as designers, as architects, that is our obligation to create and craft, to monitor and measure, because we know what it is that we wish to develop.
Director of Education Vanweer Jack provided more insight on the curriculum process.
Even when on vacation, teachers were engaged. Life did not stop because we were working on the curriculum. Some of our team members experienced issues such as family deaths, COVID-related illnesses, and even pregnancy. And yet, they persevered to get the job done.
Well, meantime, the Bahamas Technical and Vocational Institute's deepening its partnership with the LJM Maritime Academy with the signing of a 3-year Memorandum of Understanding. The agreement paves the way for Workforce Readiness Maritime Technical Preparatory Program at BTVI and the Maritime Technical Core Program at the Maritime Academy. BTVI President Dr. Linda Davis says the agreement highlights the importance of technical and vocational education and training and the link to every sector in society.
The third largest shipping registry in the world, the Bahamas is a major hub for shipping industry. Undoubtedly, you would appreciate the fact that the COVID-19 pandemic has highlighted the indispensable role that this industry plays in the global economy. Therefore, that this partnership arrangement is the marrying of tools and technology to help close the skills gap, strengthening the maritime workforce, is indeed noteworthy. And although the training is local, the world will become the oyster for these trainees.
President of the LJM Maritime Academy, Dr. Brenda McClare, says the partnership will help prepare all those interested in pursuing careers in the maritime sector.
The signing of this second MOU with the Bahamas Technical and Vocational Institution for 3 years was first signed in July 2016 for 5 years, is significant as well. Students completing studies at BTVI are now able to supplement the technical trade skills which they obtain at the Bahamas Technical and Vocational Institute with short-term maritime-related training and certification. With the complement of trade skills and maritime certification, example, let's say STCW, along with those trade skills that Dr. Davis mentioned, the doors of the maritime field will have become more accessible.
Flow Business and BTC Business hosting the 3rd edition of its Innovation 2022 Small Business Conference live streamed from the Bahamas today. The initiative offering regional entrepreneurs the chance to win $15,000 in cash and prizes as part of a business pitch competition to a live audience. BTC's Senior Marketing Manager, Carol Barnett, says the idea is to help small businesses grow, particularly coming out of the COVID-19 pandemic.
We have entrepreneurs who have their booths here. We have about 11 to 15 booths here today. We have National Insurance Board. They are ensuring that, persons sign up for the employer portal. We have inland
revenue here. They are just, persons who may not have signed up for their business license, or they have a business license and they need to ensure that they update it. They are here, and you could do all of these things right here today. We also have a lot of, booths, persons who have their wares that they'll be selling here. We're also going to be hosting a pitch competition, and this is throughout the entire Caribbean. And a Bahamian is one of the 5 finalists. So we're so excited, and we can't wait to see the end result at the end of the day.
Entrepreneurs also got some useful tips on how to expand their businesses and capitalize on new opportunities from presenters like social media specialist Dontel Antonio and creative business coach Michelle Brown Davis.
Businesses learn how to create content to impact with their audience on a high level online. I want to thank Ms. Carol for bringing me out here, seeing the vision, allowing me to talk to the island, allowing me to talk to all of the entrepreneurs, and I want to thank BTC too for having me, and I'm just beyond grateful.
Today I'm going to really be taking our entrepreneurs on a tour. There's a tool called Canva that helps creators really create producive, really high quality designs, and it looks like you probably outsourced it to some graphic designer, but it is an intuitive tool that you can use. You don't need any coding, designing experience. You don't need to go to school to learn how to code. You don't need to learn how to design. It is an intuitive tool that has millions of stock images, fonts, different type of templates that will allow business owners to really have that brand presence.
Well, as we head to the break, we'd like to thank all our viewers watching us live on our social media platforms. And just in case you missed the news, be sure to head there to catch up. Stay with us. There is more after the break.
My brother-in-law died. He left credit card bills, medical bills, and no life insurance. Now, every day is a struggle for my sister. I can't do it. I took my husband to Star General to sign up for a final expense plan. Anyone from 50 to 85 years old can get anywhere from $5,000 all the way up to $30,000 worth of coverage. No matter what life has planned, we'll have the final expense plan from Star General.
Welcome to the all-new CBS Pro Store. We'll be introducing various products such as plywood, sheetrock, metal stud, and a whole array of bulk construction products. So you can expect the same high level of service that you have been receiving at CBS Bahamas. We originally opened the store in 1980 as our retail location. Hearing from our customers that they wanted us to cater more to contractors, we decided to open the CBS Pro Store here at Robinson Road. So come by and visit us at CBS Pro Store on Robinson Road, where we can help you build beautiful.
We just got the new fiber internet speed bump. Now my internet so fast I can watch 2 4K movies, play video games, and browse on my computer at the same time.
Yeah, my internet so fast I could download a whole season of shows before my noodles run cooking.
Mine so fast when I go to church online, service actually over early.
Mine so fast when I'm working from home, 5 o'clock, come before 3.
Sound like you got this BTC fiber internet speed bump like me.
But it's so fast, I had to have it.
Current fiber internet bundle customers now have as much as 3 times the speed. Totally free. Link up with BTC.
My brother-in-law died. He left credit card bills, medical bills, and no life insurance. Now, every day is a struggle for my sister. I can't do it. I took my husband to Star General to sign up for a final expense plan. Anyone from 50 to 85 years old can get anywhere from $5,000 all the way up to $30,000 worth of coverage. No matter what life has planned, we'll have the final expense plan from Star General.
The government's looking to improve the delivery of health care and overall patient experience with a little help from the Inter-American Development Bank, which has committed to helping construct 7 to 9 family island clinics. Our Cleopatra Murphy spoke to the health minister on what this means for Eleutherians.
2 new state-of-the-art healthcare facilities are slated for the island of Eleuthera. Sites for the new mini-hospital in Palmetto Point that will replace the Palmetto Point Clinic and the new Rock Sound Clinic to replace the existing Rock Sound Clinic have already been chosen. Minister of Health and Wellness, the Honorable Dr. Michael Darville, led a delegation that included officials from the Inter-American Development Bank on site visits to the pending construction sites and other clinics set to undergo renovation through a loan facility from the IDB Thursday.
We've been doing a lot of work. Our architects, our engineers have doing the necessary planning, and we have also gotten approval for extension of manpower resources on the island. And so today it's really a pleasure that I am with the IDB, where the loan facility will be coming in for renovation and the construction of the new clinics.
With Eleuthera's population outgrowing its healthcare facilities, Darville, who along with the group also visited clinics in Harbor Island, The Bluff, Spanish Wells, and Hatchet Bay, says the IDB team was able to see for themselves the logistical challenges, decaying infrastructure, and the pressing need to improve the island's healthcare institutions.
The thing that we have been looking at is the necessity to prepare ourselves for the possibility of another pandemic like the COVID-19, to make sure we have the necessary isolation chambers and to ensure that the infectious disease control mechanisms are available here in Eleuthera to ensure that there's safety for all residents.
Senior nurse in charge of Eleuthera, Frida Cooper, says upgraded facilities are a necessity for the island.
We've done our best with what we have, but there's always room for improvement, especially in lieu of the fact that our population is growing steadily, yes, and we are grateful for this effort.
IDB country representative for the Bahamas, Daniela Carrera Marquise, says it was beneficial to see firsthand the challenges that must be considered that affect quality and cost when trying to strengthen the healthcare system in an archipelago like the Bahamas.
I think one of the most important aspects that for our team is not about the physical infrastructure, it's how you build the community aspect of health for the population and how each island, in the case of the Bahamas, is going to has its own character and its own particularities. And we have to be flexible to adapt that so that it really is something that once the bank is not there, it continues to survive and thrive.
Darville expects the new Palmetto Point Mini Hospital will cost in the range of $7 to $8 million, while costing for the new Rock Sound facility has not yet been finalized. The minister and Carrera Marquise are hoping to get work on the facility started as soon as possible, while he says contracts recently awarded by the Ministry of Health should be activated in a week or two. For the Bahamas Tonight, I'm Cleopatra Murphy.
Well, it's time now for a check on Family Island weather with Chief Meteorologist Basil Dean. Good evening, Basil.
Good evening, Makishla. Outside of our studios, just a few clouds, temperature at 82 degrees. Relative humidity, 58%. We have northeast winds at 14 miles per hour. The barometric pressure, 1,016.7 millibars, is 30.05 inches, and the pressure is rising. Temperatures around the Family Islands this evening, they are brought to you by Family Guardian Insurance Company. We're protecting you. 80 degrees in Freeport, Grand Bahama, Grand Toll, Key, and Abaco, Marshall, Abaco, 81 degrees. The Berry Islands, 85. Allenstown, Bimini, 83 degrees. 83 also in Harbor Island. Rock Sound, Eleuthera, 86. 81 degrees in Black Point, Exuma, and Camps Bay, South Andros. Fresh Creek and Central Andros at 82 degrees. 85s in Otterstown, Cadet, San Salvador, and Rum Key, Georgetown, Exuma, 83. 85s in Rygut Island, Clarencetown, Long Island, and Crooked Island. Betsy Bay, Megwana, 83. Acklands, 83. Matchetown, Unagua, also at 83 degrees. And the Turks and Caicos Islands at 81 degrees. And your boating forecast tonight is brought to you by Builders Mall, home of FYP, the Tile King, and the Paint Center. For all areas tonight, northeast winds at 10 to 15 knots. The wave height is just around 2 to 4 feet, with your high tide taking place at 10:48 tonight. Now, tomorrow, we expect the winds to pick up out of the northeast at 15 to 20 knots. The wave height is building 4 to 6 feet. So caution flags go in place tomorrow for the northwestern Bahamas right through Sunday. High tide, that will occur at 11:21 on Saturday morning, with a low tide at 5:54 in the afternoon. And the central and southeastern parts of our country, northeast to east, 10 to 15 knots, and the wave height is 2 to 4 feet. That's going to do it for your boating forecast. It's time now for your international temperatures, and they are brought to you by Royal Star Assurance. For your international temperatures, brought to you by Royal Star Assurance. But stay tuned. The extended weather forecast is still ahead.
I'm tired of going round and round.
NBA League Pass is the coolest way to watch the hottest game there is. When threes rain down and superstars heat up. When clutch jumpers splash and your team is fire. You'll be there for up to 40 games a week, any way you want to watch. NBA League Pass. Order now.
Awesomely, this is a beautiful experience. I can't lie. This is my first time doing this sort of charity work, and I mean, it feels good to help out, you know? There's a can drive coming up and other initiatives are part of the Giving a Helping Hand campaign, and I encourage anyone that's willing to lend their support in any way, shape, or form to come through and give of your time.
Hey, it's your honorary pump attendant here to educate you on the do's and don'ts at the service station. Here's what you don't do. Do not pull up from the pump without first checking that the nozzle has been removed from your car. Because if you pop this, that's about $600,000 to $30,000 to replace. These things ain't cheap. What you want to do is make sure that the nozzle has been removed, or just wait for the universal sign, which is the double tap.
The Sports Report is brought to you by Hoop Fest in Paradise, December 16th to the 17th at the Kendall G. Isaacs Gym. The best in U.S. and Bahamian high school basketball.
Welcome to sports, everybody. Team Bahamas off to a fast start at the 2022 International Automobile Federation Motorsports Games in France. The team of Armando Hudson, Christopher Bain, Josiah Burrows, and Giselle Lariana in the karting endurance, finishing 9th out of 16 countries in Session 1. The games run until Sunday. Despite limited playing time to start the season, the Charlotte Hornets have exercised Kai Jones' third-year team option for 2023-24. Jones will become a restricted free agent after the 2024-25 season, so the Hornets still have 2 seasons of team control left. Kai, who will earn $3 million in 23-24, is still on the outside, looking in during his second NBA season. Charlotte had until Monday to exercise the contract. The Bahamas has a rich tradition in the sport of softball, and tonight Charles Fisher takes a closer look at one of the country's top aces.
He has won numerous championships in softball at the national and international level and has also represented the Bahamas on many national teams. They call him the Heat, Edney the JC Heat Bethel. He has dominated the softball world for many years, and many thought he had retired.
No, not yet. I get two more seasons, retiring at 60. And I thank God, I give God all the glory and all the praise for keeping me this long, for 44 years pitching.
Edney has played for just about every island, winning national championships as well, and is a native of Eleuthero. So it was surprising to see him playing in New Providence this season with the CNS Hitmen.
After there's no lead in Eleuthero this year, I decided to play because I wanted to stay in shape for the upcoming Bahama games. So I thank God that I can still perform and pitch at a high level.
We know island people seem to live longer and be in shape. What keeps the Heat going?
They call me the curve man in Eleuthero, so a lot of curve and milk, a lot of conch solid, and lots of wake up, and a good woman like Nell back in Eleuthero.
And this championship was emotional for Edney, coming to tears after pitching all 5 games in the series.
This one is very special. Fisher, at age 58, and can come out and still show the Bahamas that I can win a national championship. I just thank God, I love it.
Great watching you for all these years. Keep up that heat going. For ZNS Total Sports, I'm Charles Fisher.
The 2022 Bahamas Lawn and Tennis Association Senior Nationals, dubbed a smashing success. Champion in the men's 55 singles and doubles, Corey Francis, spoke about why these kinds of tournaments are so important.
They tend to push the old fellas aside because the young guys, they're a little more exciting than we are. But, it's good to see that they remember us and keep something going for us.
Francis also runs the City Community Tennis Club, and his focus is on inner city youth.
My program mission is to take tennis to them. Even without having a tennis court in their community, we use the basketball court, set up mini nets. The development of junior tennis is low, and there's a need for more players, young players, to get involved so that when the senior guys step off the scene, these young kids could fill in the gaps.
The White Sands Bahamas College Invitational taking center stage at the Ocean Club Golf Course on Paradise Island. The ladies segment already finished up with Lipscomb taking home the overall title. Arkansas State was second, followed by Central Arkansas in third, UNC Greensboro in fourth, and host school Arkansas Little Rock rounding out the top five. The men played their first round today. Vying for the title, host school Virginia Commonwealth, along with Duke, UTEP, Arkansas State, Stetson, Troy, Nebraska, Sam Houston State, Southern Miss, Louisiana Monroe, Delaware, and Texas State. Tomorrow is Talent Identification Day for the Nassau Rowing Club. Government school students in grades 8 through 12 encouraged to come out to the C.R. Walker Auditorium between the hours of 2 and 4 p.m. Those selected will put themselves in a prime position for future college scholarship opportunities.
The goal of the initiative is to develop a cohort of government school rowers to a baseline athletic standard so that we can then put them in front of coaches who are in our network in NCAA Division 1 and 2 schools so we can get them a degree through sport and change their lives. We have a massive network of coaches who are huge supporters of the Nassau Rowing Club, who are looking for diverse talent. We're looking specifically for Bahamian athletes. We experienced a great deal of success at the head of the Charles, which is the world's largest rowing regatta, just this past weekend. There are a lot of questions, a lot of excitement from coaches all across the U.S. As well as from Canada about how the rowing scene is developing in the Bahamas. And this is a perfect way to put the athletes that those coaches are looking for in front of them, showcasing their talents, what they can do, and really making sure that the Bahamas is making a name for itself on the global stage.
And this is not the first time such an opportunity has been made available.
In the past, we've gone school by school. We have worked with C.R. Walker, and we have identified students by going into the school, having them get on the rowing machine. We have then organized transportation to Lake Cunningham from their school. If they can't swim, we have a swim instructor who is a member of our coaching staff who works with them to do that, and we get them on the water. So it's really designed to remove as many barriers as possible. It's not just about the recruitment, it's also about retention as well.
That's all the time for sport. To check on weather, up next.
The Sports Report was brought to you by Hoop Fest in Paradise, December 16th to the 17th at the Kendall G. Isaacs Gymnasium. The best in U.S. and Bahamian high school basketball.
I've been blown away. Totally love the vibe to really be able to lead this process. I feel a great sense of gratitude around being able to have Shelly to be here with us.
This event was one that you had to be here.
Any time that I am able to spend time with especially young women who have aspirations and things they want to achieve, it is just always wonderful. So this has been a terrific experience today.
We just got the new fiber internet speed bump. Now my internet so fast, I can watch 2 4K movies, play video games, and browse with my computer at the same time.
Yeah, my internet so fast, I could download a whole season of shows before my noodles run cooking.
Mine so fast, when I go to church online, service actually over early.
Mine so fast, when I'm working from home, 5 o'clock, come before 3.
Sound like you got this BTC fiber internet speed bump like me.
But it's so fast, I had to have it.
Current fiber internet bundle customers now have as much as 3 times the speed, totally free. Link up with BTC.
You'll be all smiles after shopping the aisles at Super Value and Quality Supermarkets. Ronzoni ready-cut macaroni, 16-ounce, $2.29. Rainbow mackerel, 15-ounce, $1.69. Cream-O-Land Homo milk, 1 gallon, $6.99. Whole chicken wings, $1.99 per pound. Generic bleach, 1 gallon, $3.99. Donate your change to help feed the Humane Society animals at Super Value and Quality Supermarkets.
Time now for weather.
In our final look at weather, our satellite pictures showing high pressure now firmly in control of our weather. There's a front boundary across the southern portion of the United States that's drifting towards the south, but we expect it to stall just north of the Bahamas. Our forecast for tonight, we're looking at patchy clouds, a bit on the warm side, low temperature around 76 degrees. And tomorrow, it's going to be partly sunny, a bit breezy as those winds will begin to pick up in the morning, afternoon showers and thunderstorms in the mix. 84 degrees for your high temperature and your extended weather forecast. Over the next couple of days, you're going to expect those isolated showers and thunderstorms, particularly in the afternoon on Saturday and Sunday. Thereafter, we expect things to dry out as we head into the early part of next week. But those daytime temperatures, they will be climbing into the mid to upper 80s, upper 70s during the nighttime. Kishla.
Well, thanks, Basil. And before we leave, we want to remind you to turn your clocks back an hour come November 6th as daylight savings time kicks in at 2 a.m. That gives you early rises, more light in the mornings. Once again, that's Sunday, November 6th at 2 a.m. Turn those clocks back. Well, that does it for the Bahamas Tonight. Thank you for continuing to make ZNS your first choice for news and information. Only the sun covers the Bahamas better than ZNS. From all of us here at ZNS, thank you for watching and good night.
It now gives me great pleasure to invite Your Majesty to unveil the plaque and to declare the building of the Broadcasting Corporation open.
For 45 years, we've been there with you through every memorable moment in Bahamian history.
To the Broadcasting Corporation of the Bahamas coverage of the state funeral of fallen Bahamian hero, the Right Honorable Sir Lyndon Penland.
This has been a very sad time for many Bahamians who have loved and revered Sir Lyndon.
The funeral of the man termed by our Prime Minister as the Bahamas' greatest national hero, His Excellency Sir Milo Butler.
Every triumph.
It's being called one of the most significant general elections in Bahamian history.
Together, we are going to work hard to make this country the best little country in the entire world.
A new Prime Minister will be sworn in this evening.
It's the hard work. We shall overcome.
Kid Island residents were beaming with pride after learning their member of parliament won his parliamentary seat and is the country's new Prime Minister.
I promise to work hard to justify your faith in us.
Every tragedy.
Hurricane Andrew has taken away a chapter of these people's lives.
The people of Eleuthera have experienced the devastation of Hurricane Andrew.
The power is still out pretty much over all of Eleuthera.
Downtown Nassau brought to a standstill, tragically, by this inferno of a fire.
Firefighters worked through the night, frantically trying to save most of historic Nassau. We're getting reports of a tragic plane crash in Grand Bahama that has claimed the lives of 9 people.
Their leader, CEO, and founder of Bahamas Faith Ministries, Dr. Miles Monroe, died in that plane crash earlier this evening.
As thousands participated in Friday's Labor Day parade, tragedy struck when a truck lost control and scores were injured.
curfew is hereby imposed, extending each night from 9 p.m. to 5 a.m.
Through every occasion.
Me to extend it to each of you.
ZNS Channel 13 proudly presents the 2000 Boxing Day Junkanoo Parade.
Every time.
Good evening, I'm Charles Carter.
Good evening, I'm Paulette Jonacala.
I'm Diana Wilson, TV 13 News.
I'm Christine Pinder.
This is Carlton Smith.
I'm Gina Rogers.
Carla Palmer.
I'm Navalari Chana Singh. I'm Charles Fisher.
On whether or not the salaries between Bahamian work.
Clint Watson.
I'm Janae Noel Ferguson.
C.S. Godley.
I'm Julian Gibson.
I'm Altaviz Munnings.
I'm Jimenita Swain.
Karen Carey.
Lloyd Allen.
I'm LaDon Davis. I'm Shashina Wolfarkison.
I'm Kishla Adderley.
And I'm Candino Knowles.
From the studios of the Northern Service in Freeport, Grand Bahama, this is Newsnight 13.
ZNS TV 13 is making history in high definition.
This is the Bahamas Tonight, Northern Edition.
The Bahamas Tonight, the National Report, starts now.
The ZNS Network, the only true network. It all starts here.
You're watching the ZNS Network, the People's Station.